Yeah. Another question. When you, let's just, in the years, 97, 96, when there was the WCW versus WWF, did WCW ever reach out to you?
No.
Oh, man.
No, I think, they were, for numerous reasons. One, probably, some just basic legal reasons of you don't want to get caught doing something shaky that someone could blow up into, you're unethical. And I think their whole music vibe, I think, is ultimately one of the things that prevented them from winning that war, really.
Exactly, yes.
They used, and amazingly didn't get sued, but they used a lot of mainstream music. But and I was very much against that when we did that, when we started doing that for like pay-per-view themes and stuff, because on one hand, yes, it makes your product seem bigger. You're using Highway to Hell and like, yeah, this makes it seem like a big event. Unfortunately, the negative is that music has emotional connections with people having nothing to do with WWE. Mm-hmm. It means that when they hear that, they're taken out. It's like you're sitting in a movie theater and a song comes on, and that was the song that was playing in your car the night you were driving away when your girlfriend broke up with you or something. So it carries all that baggage, whereas original music, Undertaker walks out, you're only thinking about Undertaker. Yeah. And that moment, you're fully invested in that moment, in that storyline, in that movie. And also I think it raises the level of the talent a lot, because it makes them feel powerful and unique, and that I'm the Undertaker. That it helps my belief get into that character all the more. That translates to them doing a better performance. That translates to pumping up the crowd that's in the arena more. Their energy comes out of the TV screen even more to the people at home, making, that sense of like, wow, it'd be so cool to be there ringside, and it's a building momentum. I'm just such a believer in the power of music. Has obvious powers, but it also has kind of subtext powers that are maybe even more powerful.
How did you feel when they used Limp Bizkit for The Undertaker? Did you think that was a smart move, or did you think that, like, let's try something else, or did I think I understood that at least to the degree I understand the story, is that Undertaker had been doing, the same basic thing for many, many years, and he just wanted a change of pace and do this motorcycle thing. And I got that part, and that was a great song. There's a great band that did a lot of great rock music, and so if they were going to go that direction, probably a good hookup. Would not have been, again, relative to using mainstream music versus original music. Another point on that, Tim, which is interesting, is in advertising, about the power of association with, what I'm calling mainstream music, which is probably denigrating my own music by implying somehow it's not music, but songs chosen for advertisements. Those songs are chosen specifically because music is so powerful. They want to take what they're speculating the emotions are. An overt example is like truck commercials. Like a rock.
That's how I remember that song now.
The Bob Seger song.
Yeah.
You know, it's like manly, and it's got big balls, and it says like, man, if you drive this truck, you buy this Ford F-150, man, you are a cool guy and a really strong guy, and you probably get a lot of women. And so guys go out and buy, like, I'll take the F-150, please, because that makes them feel good, that they're kind of associated with that vibe. So I'm a big fan of original music.
What are you looking for to do now? Do you have any offers on the table?
Oh my God, this just happened, so I'm just getting used to this new life. One thing I can tell you that has happened is, relative to the last few years at WWE being pretty embroiled in a lot of politics, or at least negative politics for me. Mm-hmm. Being out and just stuff that I've written in the last month has completely gotten me much more clearly back into how much I love music and the thrill of writing stuff and the thrill of just recording ideas and getting them down and following them through, and also being, when I'm working on a song versus a piece of orchestral music, like film kind of music, being able to have the lyrics go wherever I want, versus the vast majority of time I had to steer lyrics, obviously, to, kind of anger, ticking time bomb type stuff, which is I think why many times my music was well received, because I tried to keep away from that as much as possible, or at least couch it. I'll give you an example. When I would work on rap things, and when I'd work with the rapper, I quickly learned that how I had to do that was to give them a set of lyrics that really told the story I wanted to tell, and then they would have to spin it around their own way, because that's just part of the whole hip hop thing, that whether they actually do or not, everyone perceives that they have their own flow, their own style of.
And you're not a hip hop guy, right?
Rap. I'm not a hip hop guy. No.
Okay, how do you know if it's good or not? Like, I obviously you do, but like when you're telling this guy, this rapper, you're picking a guy to sing the song. You're saying, well, like Domination, Ezekiel Jackson. You're like, well, this guy, he's saying he's the best, and then they spin it, and you're like, yep, that's it, without even being a fan of the music. That just blows my mind.
Well, I can enjoy music that I don't know if it's that I don't like, but maybe I don't understand. I think part of the hip hop thing is I get really frustrated and thrown by a lot of the real coarse negativity and just gratuitous sexuality of it all. It just seems unnecessary. It feels much more like someone doesn't really have something broader to say. So that, you talk about these very typical lyric categories. One thing I love about Eminem's music is he can be very comical. He takes rap and makes it storytelling.
Yes.
Where he'll tell stories about his life. Linkin Park, I always admired a lot of their rock rap stuff, because even though it was very aggressive, it sort of spoke to issues young kids going through, of feeling alienated socially and feeling like an outcast and feeling angry about it and what the hell can I do about it? You know, I like lyrics that speak to deeper issues that maybe help people resolve things. But long tangent around, going back to your point, how do I know if it sounds good? I love all sorts of music. I don't hate hip hop. It's just, I would say, as a genre, I like a much less percentage of it globally than maybe other forms. But I listen to the tone and timbre of someone's voice. You know, there's a lot to hip hop that has to do with, you know, does the guy or girl just have a good, sort of fun, attractive sounding voice that is just inherently, before you even get to what they're rapping, is it just cool to listen to their voice, the sound and how they say words,
the cadence,
everything about their whole flow, just the sound of their voice. You know, it's people, I think, make a big mistake by saying, well, they're not even singing. Well, it's incredibly close to singing. You know, it's you get back to the old story about, well, Bob Dylan has a crappy voice. Well, from one very narrow definition of good and bad voices, he probably has a less than ideal voice. Yet he has a lovely voice in terms of it's infectious. There's something about it that you can't not listen to what the guy's singing about. It just draws you in.
In the big part of music right now,
Tom Waits. You go down those. There are a lot of people who have unusual voices, but they're incredibly attractive. So it's the same thing in hip hop, I believe.
Bobby Dylan, he will not. You know, if he was around nowadays and he went on American Idol, they just won't, because the music business nowadays is just it's
fluff.
All they do is push something through the machine that they know will sell, and we've lost track of actual art. And that's what we're trying to do. This is like our motto for the business that we're running, is to try to save music, because it's not music anymore. It's more of programming. And
I agree. It's become a commodity.
Yes.
And that's I literally, Tim, could not agree more with you. And that's part of what has saddened me with WWE over the past few years, that I've said before, is that the music has become a commodity. I don't feel like the themes have anything in particular to do with the character anymore. They're not scoring the film anymore. For me. They're not. I don't hear the music. I mean, most of the time when I would hear music over the past few years, I wouldn't even know who's coming out. I don't know who the character is. And I think that applies to music in a broad scope too. Just as you've said, it kind of doesn't mean anything. It's something to listen to. It lasts for a couple of weeks, and then it's replaced by the next thing. Mm-hmm. But it's certainly not speaking to kids. What I think kids today are missing, unfortunately, that they probably don't even know they're missing, is having music be, like you said earlier, the soundtrack of your life. It's where it matters, and you're listening to the music in terms of not just it's fun to listen to or something, but that the lyrics speak to you, and you hear a song. I think that's why someone like Adele, who, just like you were saying about Bob Dylan, would never make it on The Voice. I couldn't, if I was a promoter, I'd have a tough time selling Adele on the surface. I'd have, I go in someone's office. I've got this girl. She's great. You got to hear. Yeah. You got some pictures. Well, she's attractive. She's attractive. She's is she, really young and hot? Well, she's not that young.
She has a good voice.
And she's attractive. But you get where they're going, and okay, well, so it's sort of R&B dance, popular stuff that I can sell. Well, no, actually, she basically just sings with piano and a little bit of production. It's gonna. I'll get kicked out of the guy's office. And yet, when people hear her music, obviously it cuts them to their core, and people are like, wow, that happened to me. What she's singing about my life, and now it matters. So music has to matter for people to really care about it.